Here. Shadle, Smith,
Here.
Stewart, Wall,
Here.
Wilkinson.
Here.
Okay, we'll stand and do the pledge.
Here.
Wilkinson.
Here.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll start with the city flag. Okay, public comment section. Nobody has anything? We'll move on to the approval of the December minutes. Okay,
I make a motion.
public comment section.
One second.
Nobody has anything? We'll move on to the approval of the December minutes.
Okay, are you ready? I bet he's gonna have to shut it off.
So I have a motion. Doug motion.
Holly was the second.
Holly second.
Allen,
Yes.
Gideon,
Yes.
Goforth,
Yes.
Plasmeyer,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Wall,
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Hey.
Okay. Been a while since we've really had any financials, but we actually have a good financial sheet now finally, to be able to present to you. I think if you look at it, everything's tracking pretty good. Couple points that I would like to make is we did find a couple discrepancies, mostly along with part-time salaries. We think that when the finance person was putting these numbers in, he went by the FTEs and possibly put those in as more hours than our employees actually work. An FTE is considered 800 hours. Most of our pool staff and our staffing from the concession world work 200 hours or 300 hours, so that skewed that budget way high. And we've looked at our past numbers, and there's no way those reflect what we normally spend. So we found those two numbers can give us some great, shouldn't say great concern, but they're over budgeted. So we won't spend those numbers, so there'll be more money or less money spent in our budget than what it actually reflects. Okay? And then also in the capital improvement part of it, those are budgeted numbers, and we budgeted some of those expenses, and we're coming in underneath those numbers quite a bit, significantly. I think we budgeted about 1.9 million to spend on capital projects, and if everything continues to track like it's tracking right now, we'll be at about 1.4. So you can see a significant savings there as well. You know, we budgeted, as an example, we budgeted over 500,000 for the concession stand, and it's at 380. And then some change for other things involved in it too. So we're doing a good job watching those. So I think if you look at that financial report, you'll see we're in good shape. We will come in way underneath what we project to spend in expenses, and our revenue's looking like it's tracking right where we think it should. So financially, we should be in good shape. There should be some carryover for next year, as we typically do. But until we get there, I wouldn't want to spend much of that money. Feel a little more comfortable if the numbers still track the same in May. We may pull up a project or two if that's what the board would want to do.
I've got one question. In taking the two documents and just kind of doing a comparison, so like in the revenues comparison, with this packet, like the pool admissions, everything combined for the Boswell Aquatic Center is like 27,000, and then our 25-26 budget estimate is aquatics revenue 51,000, and then like the total parks activities, again on this sheet, that total is,
A bunch of that money hasn't came in yet is why.
So it's like our
'Cause
actual is
that-
half of what the budget.
This is our actual revenue, what we brought in so far this year.
Yeah,
And so we'll still, like, for park activities, all of our sponsorships, all of our ball signups, those come in March and April. So they'll all hit as revenue on this fiscal year.
Gotta remember,
what about the Boswell
The
Aquatic?
poll,
Same
we
thing.
still have all of June, which
All
is
of
our
June.
busiest month, and most of our pool parties will all hit in this budget year for that revenue. So we
all-
should
and all
hit
our
those
shelter
revenues.
Still
reservations.
paying, okay, so that's where that's that cutoff
it's
problem.
the cutoff time.
Yeah, right in the
You-
middle of our
you-
season.
You have to remember that with the July budget, we stop, we collect revenue all the way up to the end of June. We actually stop spending bills about the second week of July, or June. So therefore, extra expenses get carried over to the following year, and it's a really hard thing to track the sports programs and the pool when we split June, July, because those are our two, most of our expenses are here,
Okay.
and most of our revenue comes in here. And it really divides it up, so you're always looking a year, in a split year, and it makes it hard to track. That's why at the end of the pool season, Elliot always provides us with a thing that says, here's what the year revenue was for
Yeah.
this year, here's what the revenue or expenses were for this year. Makes it a lot easier to track than try to look at this and last year's.
Doing
It's
this.
really,
Okay,
Like calendar year
the
instead of
calendar year, it really,
fiscal year for us.
fiscal and calendar make it really difficult to track those things. Because like Elliot said, we'll have all our pool parties from the schools in the first of June. June's our biggest month on attendance just by itself anyway. And then you'll also have all your pool reservations for pool parties at night. Most of those people will book in May and June. So, but it doesn't get expensed till July and August when we actually
Okay.
pay the labor for all those things. So it kind of, that's a bad time to divide it, but it is what it is.
thank you for that.
Sorry about that. I wish we could do something different. Any other question on the financials? And I think one other change you'll see is in professional services administration. I don't remember exactly the number of it.
56023. It's on the second page, about midway through there.
Yeah, somewhere in there anyway. Used to be the professional services part of it, where like HR and finance and all that stuff was kind of billed individually in each department. Now it's all lumped into one number, so that number looks a little different than it has in the past.
The 5% reserve makes sense in my head. I don't know what catastrophe would have that wouldn't cover that, or the city come in, but why did we operate as such a higher reserve for so long
Because
before
finance,
Troy?
because the finance department,
Was a recommendation
was
from,
bound and
Mike
determined
and
everybody
finance.
should have that number, and it didn't.
Oh, just across the board, that was just a
Across the board,
reserve
yeah.
for all
25%.
departments?
25 to 30%, yeah.
25 to 30?
Yeah, that was her standard rule. And that's what we went with. I had argued for quite a while that that was extreme, but.
For a park department?
Well, especially for the type of business we do, whereas if something would happen and a tornado would, God forbid, a tornado would hit, let's say Nelson Park, and wipe it out. Well, if we didn't play those games, we didn't play the tournaments, we didn't do that, so there wouldn't be the expenses associated with those things either. So I didn't understand why it ever needed to be where it was. It's basically to make sure you had 6 months operating revenue, but we didn't, there would have, I cannot see any situation where we would need to spend all that money if it wasn't coming in.
What's the percentage now?
5.
5.
And I appreciate Troy, I think he was here a little while ago, I don't know if he's still back there, but, coming up with I think a more workable number. I think that frees up quite a bit of money for us to spend.
Well, I mean,
But still gives us enough in reserve if something would happen strangely, we could operate without any worries.
pay for a project.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a significant amount of money just
Yeah.
sitting there in the bank. Okay. Click the next one.
Actually, can you go back to the agenda thing, because that's got the Mount Rose thing on there, Lacey? Yeah, the survey results.
Okay. Mount Rose surveys came in. I don't know if you guys got much of a chance to look at it. I think if you really look at the stuff on there, it basically is what we're wanting to do. We're talking about adding walking trails, we're talking about splash parks, bathrooms, playgrounds. I was a little surprised at the number of people that called out for the smaller kid playground. I think that's interesting. And the one out at Ashley does definitely get used. I just didn't see it used that much. But I'm not there all the time either, you know, I mean, we're there a lot. So that's something we need to look at in our parks, is to add that, something for a little bittier kids. I think as we do that, we have to keep in mind that you really need to try to keep those two areas separate a little bit as well. Most of the cities, you'll see playgrounds where they have the little bitty guys and then the older kids, they kind of separate them a little bit. The little guys will be over here and the bigger guys will be over here, and they don't intermingle those pieces of equipment. So there's not a swing for a little kid and a swing for a big kid side by side. There's over here and over here. Again, there was some call for fencing. We've had that discussion a lot over the last 20 years. Fencing really starts to get into problems with ADA, because if you close a gate, it has to be able to ADA open, which means it has to have an automatic operating. You have to be able to push a button, and that gate opens. And I really have some concerns if something happens to that gate and it doesn't open, then what happens? If it happens at 8 o'clock at night or something, there's people inside there and the gate doesn't open. So I don't have an issue necessarily with fencing areas, but I would never want to put gates in where you,
They're locked in.
yeah, where they're
And
locked in if something.
Yeah, and I took that as just meaning like how you fenced Ashley, how there's at least just like
Perfect example.
one point that a parent's got to worry about. As long as I can
Oh,
keep
yeah.
my eye on this, you know,
Yes.
6 feet, then, and that's where I took that.
Yeah, I just don't want anybody to think that if we fence stuff, it's gonna be a completely fenced area. I just don't
Right.
think that is very operationally possible. We have trouble with gates that have a latch and open and close, swing open and closed. I can't imagine the nightmare of trying to make one go back and forth. It just,
Because actually, there's just a section that's open,
Yes.
right? Okay, that's what I was
yeah,
thinking.
we just have a couple of entry points. Ashley has 3 entry points. And I think that's perfect. So I think we could look at doing some of that. Again, especially if you have water or road, like actually we have North 5 where we want to make sure the kids stay away from it. We also had that pass-through road through there in the past. That was always nice to have it corralled. But if when you get farther away from them, don't think that is necessary. And there are children with special needs that fencings are a problem for them. So it doesn't just automatically make it a great thing for all the kids either. Some kids do have confinement issues. They see a fence and, yeah, there may be an opening. It still triggers some mechanism in them too as well. But other than that, I really didn't see anything surprising. I think that there's
There's a lot of call out for trails over a mile long.
Yeah.
We talked about that. Instead of just a mile walking trail, there's quite a few comments saying they want something larger than a mile if possible.
which we're wanting to do it actually with the 5K trail inside the park and really expanding those. That park could actually have a pretty nice long trail in it. Haven't been out there to measure off what we could do, but again, those things do get pretty expensive when they start getting over a mile long.
How big is that parcel of land?
We have 10 acres, and then there's the water department's 10 acres, so we're gonna have right at about 20 acres that we could work with Richard on part of it and make a nice walking trail. Our park part of it will probably be 9 to
But
10.
you gotta think parking, you know, and things of that nature,
Yeah.
so I didn't know scope and size of it. Is it gonna be a neighborhood park, or is it gonna be similar to, in your mind?
That'll be your guys' call. I'm gonna recommend that it's something like Harkey, you know, a nice playground with a water feature, a walking trail, shelter, and a bathroom.
I was impressed, like, I went as far and read, like, all of the individual comments of stuff. I mean, I don't know how much you guys had to spend time on looking through that, but we had like 350 plus respondents.
Yes, it was big,
It was,
really big. surprisingly.
you know, yeah, and the people were like, a lot of it was really good and positive. And I was pleasantly surprised at how in-depth the people went in to go like, hey, look into natural playground stuff, and
That one
here's a
stuck out.
link. Or have you looked at such and such park? They have a wonderful, this would be great here. Like, I was just impressed that people were taking the time and effort to make that kind of specific suggestions, and so.
Well, and
But it was
natural-
all stuff that we had already, we had kind of focused in here, but it was nice to have some validation and then even some more direction from them as to what specifically they're looking for. So
Yeah,
I
I
think,
agree.
I think it's gonna be a really great, it's
Two
gonna
of them.
fit in we're gonna be able to merge it and fit exactly what they're wanting with what we kind of had planned, and that be the roadmap for it,
That's
so.
why I said I was really pleasantly
Yeah.
surprised with the results I saw. You talk about the natural area, that's what we were talking about adding out at Ashley.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's.
Yeah.
Look that one up to see what a
They're pretty
natural
cool. They're-
playground was.
They're really cool little areas.
And this works
that-
with what we already thought was what the water, dealing with that water retention area and the flooding that goes out through there is already going to have kind of that landscaping with the rock. We were trying to have a natural landscape, but be functional. It'll just fall right in place with that, so.
Yeah, And that natural area we were talking about is typically designed more for the littler guys, that 1 to 5-year-old age group, because it's not big play stuff. It's a mogul, it's a small slide, it's holes to crawl through,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So,
So
again,
thank you
that
to
was-
Derek again for coordinating all of that for
Yes.
us. It was done really well.
That was really neat. I wasn't sure what to expect and how many results we'd get, and.
was good.
I thought we got it, especially for no longer than it was really even open.
Mm-hmm.
I think, what, a week, 10 days, maybe, something like that?
That was pretty short.
It really got a lot of response and a lot of, and immediately, I mean, it hit the street, and by that Friday night or Thursday night, whatever it was, there was already
Mm-hmm.
30 or 40 results, and I was like, holy cow, this is neat.
Yeah.
So, very good. And it really is a great tool to help us decide what we do in future parks, and like the remodel we know is coming at Boswell Aquatic Center, to make some plans, because these small surveys like that, you can really dig down and say, okay, you want this, you want this, you want this, but this is what this cost, and this is what this cost, and this is what this cost, and you can even add plus operations and stuff. You can make them really a lot of information to go through, because it's such a small question. You can ask, specific things and really get intelligent and valuable responses. So I'm looking forward to using it.
Is it
Thanks,
on the,
Derek, wherever you are.
Is it on that time frame of 2029?
Hopefully. Kind of depends on what things cost and things like that. But yeah, I'm gonna guess that by the time we pay Ashley, finish doing Ashley, it'll be there, maybe a little sooner, depending, again, on how we stay on budgets and where costs come in, and then where revenues and money comes in at, too. If we get a little extra money coming in, sales tax stays up, if you look at the numbers on there, we're pretty well staying flat on revenue for sales tax. There is no thing. If it continues to grow up like we've seen the last 5 years, there'll be more money to spend, so. So it just kind of depends on where cost and revenues come in. Just like we've always done, we'll pull stuff up when we have the money.
Yeah.
Okay, Ashley Park.
Ashley Park coming along great. There's a picture of where the old concession stand used to be. It got demoed. They've already got all the concrete footings in, the plumbing's in. Unfortunately, the blocks, we're waiting on concrete blocks because nobody stocks tan blocks anymore. So we're waiting on the blocks to come in. But we came up with a little bit of work, and they should have the concrete floor poured, hopefully maybe by Friday, if not by Monday. And then we'll start laying block and going up as soon as the block gets here. So we addressed that this morning, so hopefully I haven't got a call back on when to expect work to go, but we're waiting on concrete block. Really neat there. The lower lot, obviously, the pickleball courts are in, the fence went through. Leo Morgan got the fencing bid, and I talked to him Tuesday. He ordered the parts Tuesday afternoon. He does not stock black fencing and the slats and stuff that it goes through. So it'll be a couple weeks before he gets the materials in, and then probably a couple weeks after that. So I'm going to say by the end of February, we'll have a fenced area. The light poles are on order, all the post bases are in, the wires pulled to those, so we'll have lights up as soon as the posts get here. So maybe, with a lot of luck, we could be playing on it in February with temporary lines. And then as soon as the weather gets nice enough and whoever gets the bid to paint it, probably be the place out of Springfield that does every other pickleball court within 150 miles of here. As soon as they could get it painted, we'd be ready to go, officially ready to go, and have a grand opening on it. And then Brennan will be down, Willard Asphalt will be down to asphalt the parking lot this spring. He's ready to go on that, just waiting on weather now. Brings us to the other part of it, the front parking lot. I talked to him about that this morning, and probably he gave us a rough bid of about $250,000, $275,000 to do the front parking lot. I would recommend that that would be the first thing we do, because if we do the parking lot, then we can figure out where to locate the shelter and the splash pad and the other stuff up there, and then we don't have to spend as much, because all those things comes with their own electric, or own engineered drawings. So we can save 50 grand by not having to pay Olson to design all of it. Because each thing comes with their own stuff. If we have everything arranged on a piece of paper first, we're gonna have to pay for it. And take 6 months to get it.
And there's gonna be a reconfiguration of that parking lot, correct?
Yes, we will use part, the plan that Brendan and I are working on is to use part of the parking lot that's already there will stay. Of course, it'll get re-asphalted and all that stuff. They'll do new parking gutter and curb up along the top. I wish I had a drawing. He just couldn't get it to me. He just couldn't get anything written down to give us a general sketch. But it basically will go up farther toward the playground. There'll be handicap spots up along the playground, some over by where the shelter is, and then you'll basically just flip that other side over. It'll just be a square parking lot similar to the one that's going in down below.
So more parking spaces.
Yeah, there'll be 100 parking spaces, give or take a few.
And we can
And-
turn around,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
that front parking
And
lot.
six, at least 6 to 8 handicap spots. And they'll have access to the trail. Part of that walking trail is gonna have to get moved around a little bit, and then, we'll move the dog park. The way I see this working out is we move the dog park, build a shelter, build the Mogul Hill playground area, and then the splash pad area.
Will the dog,
Maybe multiple things at a time, but that's kind of the flow.
will the dog park be back ready for by the summertime?
We will not take the old dog park out of existence until a new one's built.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
I'd
parking
say
lot-
that's good.
Yeah, any parking lot change won't affect the dog park. Might make it a little hard to get in there for a couple days.
There was a lot of those comments in that other survey. I mean, I think people are, they like their dog park and they,
Yeah,
want more.
dog park is very popular. There's people there all day long,
Yeah.
every day. Doesn't matter what the weather is. When I walk out there at night, there's always people, even after dark, at the dog park with their animals and stuff. So it's very, very popular. I do think that we need to add a small dog park when we put the new
I
one
thought
in.
that was a smart idea.
We'll do a small park and a big park.
Yeah.
We've been several places and looked at other ones, like Rollins, some other places where dog parks are. And I think that's something we probably need to put somewhere on the south side of town, whether it's in the new park, whether it's at Harkey.
Yeah.
I don't know yet, but we need another dog park somewhere else on the other side of town, so people don't have to drive all the way
All
to
the way.
actually, it's, if you live out by the airport on any given day, it can be 15-minute drive, 20-minute drive to get to Ashley, depending on traffic. So I think it'd be nice if they had an area they could run their dogs to a lot closer. I think
And the
their
dog
would like-
park could just start as a fenced-in area. You
Oh,
don't
yeah,
need
it
the
doesn't have to
toy,
be-
a lot, just, we see a lot of people let them run on the ball fields because they're fenced in, just, and stuff, just letting them
Yeah.
run. They don't necessarily need toys and stuff to play
Right.
with, but just a place to run them
Yeah.
and stuff, so.
Yeah, the ball fields are really nice for the bigger dogs and probably the dogs that maybe aren't as social with other dogs. They put them in there and run around. We don't say anything, that's fine.
Okay.
Placer IEI was approved by city council Monday night, so we'll be back and up and running with them. There was some contract issues when it went from downtown to the city and back and forth. There was some argument over who had actual control of it, but that's all been worked out now, so we should be able to, in the
Who's the
next couple weeks,
go-to?
start having some Placer AI stuff.
Who is it the city?
Yes.
That is, and
Troy might know a little bit more about that than I do.
who's the expert with it, I guess?
Derek, right? and
It'll be
Rebecca.
Derek and Rebecca Repard will be the, but it'll be held by the city, available for all departments.
So, excited about having that. Okay, and then capital improvement plan. For 27, kind of took what we talked about last meeting, tried to make this in a little easier form for you guys to follow than what we had before. And this also fits the funding we have available, so we don't ever get under that 5% and keeps us in stuff there. So I had to shuffle some things around from what you've seen in the past, but this all fits very well with our funding and keeps us above board on those things. And again, as we say, if we can stay under budget on some of the stuff, we might be able to, you know, pull some things up or change some stuff around and reallocate to what can be done. For 27, we'd have finish Atchley lower lot, playground for the lower lot. Obviously, we need a mower as part of our replacement thing. Start on the front parking lot. The Boswell slide is in desperate need of painting and some things like that over there. So
Talk me through that.
This would be a gel coat for the slides themselves, the place where you slide down. It will not be, wasn't that all that was? It was not the painting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, those fiberglass tubes, they start to get rough and hard on your body when you slide down them. They become imperfect. They get sticky just from where, you know, the sun, they're out in the weather 24/7, and they're,
Do they get warped?
yeah, they're 15 or 20 years old now, so they just need a little love and care.
Will those be able to be, like, reutilized?
Yes, ma'am. If we would want to move them somewhere else, we could move them to another location. And that is why all that,
And so this, like, gel coating and painting and stuff is not going to be,
wasted? No, ma'am. No, the gel coat, and this isn't actually painting the structure, this is just painting the slide.
It's like refinishing.
Refinishing the tubes.
Part you slide on.
Yes.
right, I just wondered, like, then when you
Yeah.
disassemble it and reassemble it, if it kind of,
And that is why I didn't go ahead and have them bid it to repaint it, because if we would move it to another location, we take it apart, and you just put brand-new paint on it, spent $50,000 now, you know, nothing's gonna line up exactly right, you're gonna have bad spots in the paint.
Okay.
Scrapes, whatever. So
Yeah.
that is just the tube repair.
Got
Which
it.
is the most important part of it. I know when we went to Whitewater this summer, there was the big downhill slide about 3 times down, and that was about all your back could take, because it was in desperate need of some attention down there, so that's kind of what we're at, is fixing those kind of things. The Gasconade Playground Partnership, put some money in there just in case that would come to fruition. Ms. Plasmeyer has been working with the Hughes Center on maybe a partnership with them, and our city administrator's been working with a group doing a group home over there and seeing if there's some interest there for a partnership. So I just wanted some money in there in case these partnerships came to be. We don't have to spend that until it happens, but it'd be nice to have that money if we do want to. You always want to budget for something like that, rather than try to figure out where that money comes from later on and having to move a bunch of other things around to make it happen. If it doesn't happen, we don't have to spend the money. And then we always put in 25,000 for additional sidewalks, that's a repair, or little additions here and there, like the Route 66 sign that just got put in, that pays for that little bit of concrete that we were gonna put around it, for sidewalks to access it. A
where
park bench here
did that come from? That sign, I mean, like, who, was it Route 66, like, did they
Route
pay
66
for it?
Association approved it, so did the parks, and it was a grant that Rebecca got from the Route 66 Society that paid for all the sign and all the installation and stuff. All we had to do was build the footing.
It's very cool.
It's really cool. It's a neat photo opportunity, and Obviously, the thought is the longer you can get people to stop, if they're there for a photo op already, if they spend an extra 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes there, at some point, they start to stop and they're there long enough now, they're gonna get gas, they're gonna get food. Depending on the time of night they get there, they might even spend the night. So anything you can do to add people's stay time in those parks, that helps. And it's such a good location, and it turned out really cool, so it's really a neat addition to the park.
And the trailer's coming too, still, right?
Eventually, yes, sir.
It's
yeah.
being, is it currently being refurbished, or is it still?
Yeah, they're working on it. They're working on it. Yeah, the Camel 66 truck will be, trailer, that'll be another neat thing there. They're paying all the bills to put it, again, we'll have to build the concrete underneath of it for it to set on, and then the other question will be how to anchor it so it doesn't move around. But I think we have a plan. So then you go on to 28, and we do the front shelter, splash pad, trail expansion, dog park, the playground, natural turf area, a replacement of the truck, and additional sidewalks and lights again. We have entered into, on Monday night, an agreement with, and Troy, if I'm wrong, correct me, with Enterprise for purchasing of vehicles for the city, on the ones that come and go, like trucks and cars and stuff like that, not police vehicles or specialty vehicles, just simply the everyday park truck or a city administration car. So I'm not exactly sure how this lease thing is going to work with them in that they tell us when a vehicle needs to be turned back in for its most value. So I just basically put a vehicle in every 2 years until we figure out how this works with them. Typically, it's gonna be a 3 to 5 year turnaround window, but part of what we pay them to do is to track when vehicles are worth the most money to trade in. And they buy millions of vehicles a year and trade them all the time. So they have a department that just does that. And you get the best, you get a really good purchasing power because they're buying how many vehicles a year does Enterprise buy? And then they sell them. So they really know the market and take advantage of all that stuff. So we look for that to be a great tool for the city. Just some questions on how fast those vehicles are gonna turn over. History will tell us what that is. So meanwhile, we have our own plan of every 12 years of changing the truck out. Is that correct? Was it 12?
I think we went to 15.
15, okay. Well, whatever that truck, the board decided to do, now we're gonna use them for our recommendations on when we trade them in. But I just, like I said, I put a truck in every other year and a mower every other years throughout this plan.
With that lease on the vehicles though, it's just a swap out and a payment on the lease, isn't it? Does that go underneath the city overall budget, or does the payment come to the park budget?
The way it'll work is we'll put it, the average cost is about $6,000 a year per vehicle. So the way that works is we'll put it in as part of the operating budget based on the number of vehicles that lease, and so, but the theory is you want to try to reduce your total cost of ownership.
Yeah.
So your cost, instead of pumping $35,000 or $50,000 in at once, you're putting a little bit, but your cost, and the way where we've done this in the past, they usually turn them about every 2 years. But the goal is, it only works on the equipment that doesn't require any specialization. It's just the standard pickups or the standard sedans. Once you start modifying a vehicle for specialized needs, the resale value plummets. So you might as well just buy it the old-fashioned way and drive it until the wheels fall off.
Makes sense, yeah. I mean, you put dollars back into the budget.
Yeah, it's gonna be, like I said, I think it's gonna be a really neat tool. It's just gonna take a little while to see exactly how it tracks out. So then we go to 29, then we move out to Mount Rose and start on that project. Again, hopefully we can get there a little sooner. Some batting cages, another mower, and then there's our sidewalks or whatever other things we might find to come along. 30 would be Mount Rose Park again. That should finish it off. We'd probably try to do that as an end of year on 29 and a start of year 30, so it's all one project, but not, come start, work a little bit, quit, leave, and leave it all tore up for another 6 months and start again. We try to time it where it worked out if it even if it means being either a little late in 29 or maybe a little early in 30. Okay? And then 31, we try to move over to the Beck area, over in that area with the park there, and replace another mower, and then we're gonna have pitching mounds in there for our additional charges. So, any thoughts on that? Do we want to approve that today, or do you want to have time to look at it and approve it next meeting?
Anybody have anything? I'll take a motion to approve if Doug motions, Melody seconds.
Gideon,
Yes.
Goforth, yes. Plasmeyer,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Wall,
Yes.
Wilkinson,
Yep.
Allen.
Yes.
Okay, and one other thing that we've noticed in the last 2 or 3 years is shelter reservations are getting a lot more calls between November and March when we normally open up. Back when we set that time frame, we didn't have any bathrooms open all year round. Now we have Boswell and actually open all the time along with Parkey. So you'd be surprised at the number of calls we get for reservations in that time window we used to block off and say there wasn't any reservations. Ellie and I were talking about the other day, why don't we just go ahead and start reserving those times as well? Not that there's gonna be a lot of them, but that way the people that want to don't have to take their time to call us to find out that it's first come, first serve. And if they wanna be there, that first come, first serve sometimes can be kinda scary to make an event if you don't know that you're gonna be able to have it. You know, you get there and there's 50 other people to beat you there. So we think it's good for the community to go ahead and just open the reserves up all year long instead of having that window blocked out. So what are your thoughts?
You can still shut the restrooms down and take the reservations, right? I mean, just let them know when the,
Yeah.
We'll use our restroom just the same
Yeah.
schedule. We did it in the past because we didn't have any restrooms, so we
Restrooms at all.
hated for you to plan a birthday party and show up out there and not
I
have a
know.
place for the kids, but now said we explain it, we tell them which ones are open or whatever, and most want to still have a party or whatever, and
They can
like
still
John said,
reserve and-
hate to book a birthday party and then somebody else beats you to the shelter and
And
you
is
don't have it.
reservation cost the same as what you're,
Yeah.
and are you still fine with the rates that we had set
So
before?
it's
No
no
change?
extra work for us.
No
so
change to that?
I'll
No
just
change to
change
that.
the rental form online, I mean,
It's just
Then, yeah.
expanding the time instead of
yeah.
Yeah,
leaving
why?
8 months, having 8 months reserved and 4 months not reserved. Now you reserve it all year long.
Sounds good.
And it causes some confusion. People go online, oh, I can't reserve this park. How come? How come? And,
Sure.
that's not the best customer service either.
Anybody want to make a motion for the change to the Doug? Doug's the guy today. Doug is gonna, John will second.
Goforth, Yes.
Yes.
Plasmeyer, Smith,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Wall,
Yes.
Wilkinson,
Yep.
Gideon, Allen.
Yes. Doug's getting stuff done today.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna open it up for board comments.
I just have, the tennis courts at Boswell.
Okay?
I had a guy talk to me, and I told him, because he asked about pickleball courts.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, Parks is building some more, and, the tennis courts are sometimes used by the high school. He went and talked to the high school, and they said they haven't used them in 2 years. And so the net over there for the tennis is pretty beat up, it's pretty bad, it's pretty rough. So he was just looking for either a pickleball court or a new tennis net.
Okay.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we have tennis pickleball nets, courts there. We could, if the board wanted to, we could change those to pickleball height and make them more designed just for pickleball. Pickleball nets are about 2 inches lower, or 3 and 4 inches lower, wherever that number is, lower than a regular tennis net. And most of where you see the differences is on the outside. The tennis net is quite a bit higher on the outside than pickleball, but it's still.
So does this guy play tennis or does he play pickleball?
both.
He plays both.
Yeah.
And
And
that's-
so,
But he just wants a new net.
It
The
is
net's
a
right there.
net,
Yeah.
yeah, so
We
whatever
put
it is, just
Yeah,
the
we could
net's
put a new
in
net up,
terrible
and we
shape.
could- But we could lower it to
Yeah.
pickleball height,
Yeah,
and then tennis players, since we don't have as many tennis players potentially or probably,
Yeah.
then they could play with the little bit lower tennis net. It wouldn't really affect.
from what I gather,
I
a
mean,
lot
it
of
doesn't, I don't think it would affect either one too
a
much.
lot of the tennis players that play tennis know that the courts at the high school are open to be played on, and I guess they added a couple more recently, I don't know.
Thought they did, I think they added two.
Yeah, and so I was telling about the I'm like, well, I think they use it for tournament overflow, and he said, no, they don't. I was like, okay. So he just wants a new net of whether it be a tennis net or a pickleball net.
If the new net is a pickleball net, are you able to put those, I don't know what you call them, but I know there's an additional line for pickleball?
Boswell has the pickleball lines already.
Yeah,
Oh,
Boswell
they
has
already have them?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
I didn't know.
And so
Yeah,
it's
it's already
painted
painted.
for both.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's
And
just
so,
the
but the
net.
net was a tennis net.
I gotcha.
Tennis net's in bad condition, and he was just, hey, can we get a new tennis net, or
Yep.
can it be pickleball?
We'll check on the net and. get a
Either
new net
or.
ordered. We'll probably wait till after winter to put it, I hate to put a new net up and have it go through the winter. We'll probably wait
Yeah.
till late
Well, I
spring,
mean-
or later in the winter, early spring.
And we're already in January, so,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
a month or two away,
And
so.
get it ordered
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yeah,
do
so.
we,
That is the only tennis court that the park system has right now.
Yes, sir.
Is
Yep.
Boswell, so my daughters are playing tennis, and we've gone out there and it does need a new net. The school courts are good, they're nice, but that's kind of, people use overflow that Boswell that a little bit, so, I mean, we've got pickleball courts, I mean, me personally, I'd hate to kind of, I agree with the new net, but
And we'll
I'd
have
hate to
four, and
lower
we're
it
gonna
for
also have four,
pickleball.
and you're gonna have 4 new pickleball courts coming
Right.
online,
I mean,
so I
that's
would
the
hate to
Yeah.
only
change.
tennis
To
court
go all,
that we
yeah.
have in the
And I think that's what they're looking for, just
Keep
a,
it tennis.
either or, but a new net, whichever way it was going, but they would prefer tennis,
Order new nets this afternoon.
yeah.
and
That's-
Melody,
that's
you had a public comment last time about, was it
Yeah, some
a
of
month or two
the
ago?
the
What-
tennis players, I think we talked about it a little bit, were questioning who is responsible for the upkeep at the tennis courts at the high school.
School.
Because originally, when it was built, they thought it was a partnership between the parks and the school, but that you had said the school, and so I
Yes. Yeah, it is,
I
it is school.
just reiterated that to them, and they said, well, we'll start asking around.
Yeah, the original agreement was we gave a donation
Okay.
for the actual building of the pickleball court, or the tennis courts, with the understanding that, the citizens could use it during off-school hours. And that was the thing.
Well, and I just said that, that was under a different administration way back then, too.
Yeah.
So I don't know that anybody will really remember that
Well, there was a,
original agreement.
yeah, it's in the minutes.
I mean, you'd think they'd keep it up. I mean, their kids are playing school ball on it. You'd think they
Yeah.
would keep it.
I was just over there, and they looked decent, but I only was on one court, so.
They just added a couple, didn't they?
I don't know that they added any.
I thought that's what.
If they did, I don't know.
Yeah.
don't know.
I thought
I
they
haven't-
did
I haven't
extend it
noticed
On
it.
the end, but it's been a while since.
Yeah, I
they
think it's
did
been,
that.
I think it's been
Wobblers
done
had-
for a few
Yeah.
years.
Okay, that may be.
Wobblers had done
Got
that
tennis courts up at the
original
golf course?
edition, or improvements.
They're,
for the tennis balls every time you walk over
got cracks.
I know.
You were looking at me.
I'm telling you, like, yeah.
Just leave 'em.
The wooded areas, yeah, they're there.
The greens are actually pretty good. That's the
one part that
only,
is good,
the
right?
only thing that's good out there.
So we are we're gonna get new tennis nets.
For balls.
Please
Can I
let you,
ask to take this phone call real quick? This is the
Yeah.
middle school.
yeah.
So yeah, just two new tennis nets out there
Lacey,
at
do we
Buffalo?
need, for like
No, that's
discretionary
not-
spending,
no,
that's discretionary, we
Yeah,
don't
that's
have to do
nothing.
all that.
That's a
That's
maintenance
basically
thing.
just, yeah, replacement. I
Okay,
mean,
just double checking, don't wanna, okay,
I don't think we gotta get a loan for those, but I'll double check.
I know a guy. Okay,
I had a question just on something John said about the ADA compliance. There he is. John, this is for you. We were talking about fencing earlier, and you had mentioned about complete fencing with ADA compliance meant having mechanized, like a.
Right.
I was surprised to hear that because I don't think I've been to a park that has that.
No, they're not.
Just a quick, quick Google searching, but looks. I'm not saying that it has to be like that it has to be a push button, but like openable with one hand. So just encourage you to look into that, 'cause I'd hate for that to be the reason we don't fully enclose parks. I see a lot of comments in there, especially for little kids, about having fully enclosed, so just encourage you to just double check on that, just so that we're sure that that is a compliance requirement.
Anybody else have anything to bring? Okay.
So Placer AI, we can start tracking this year.
We just got it approved, so yes.
So-
Well, and we can go backwards.
Okay, so you
Yes,
can
that
go
data's already
retroactively.
there, so
Yeah,
we
that
can
data's
go
there. We can
back.
go
You can
back.
capture data.
Yeah, we just,
Okay.
now we gotta retrain on how to run the programming and stuff like that, but yes.
Will
we-
you have
Back
to
to
make
2017.
requests to to those
I don't know
two
how- is that
to
how
run
far
your
back you can
reports, or will
go?
you be granted access to run your own and,
We hope to be able to be granted access to run our own as everybody gets up and trained.
yes, okay.
Derek, or you all might hate me for this comment, but I think with that technology and that information, it would be nice to just see an Excel sheet every park and then tracking numbers on visitors to those parks on a
That's
calendar
actually,
year.
I mean, once we figure out how to do it.
That's
it-
a
it
click of a
won't be
button.
hard
Because
to
I've
do
seen them
once.
graph it
Yeah.
and stuff
Yeah,
like
just-
that, where it'll
yeah.
just show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you just run a
gonna be
report
challenging
and
to
I
do
think
that
it would
Excel.
be,
We
I
figure
think
out.
it'd be great to see that just monthly, just to, I just
Definitely on a
like,
calendar year
yeah,
each month.
but every month it's a line item on
All
the
the way.
agenda, just to be like, hey,
It could help us
here's what
know
we had.
which parks we need to invest more money in,
Sure.
perhaps.
Oh,
you
no,
know.
it's a great
I
tool.
mean,
It's a great tool.
where people are going. Or if it's a park that's not getting any traction, we can see it in black and white. Well, how can we make this park better?
100%.
It'd be interesting to see the trends.
And you also can see where you had a park pre-update and post-update. You know, if you go back and look at the Wallace numbers, what it drew, and now look at the Wallace numbers today, so you can see what, when you make changes, how much it affects the park as well. So yeah, it's a great tool. Just gonna take a little bit of time to get familiar with it, and I'm really glad it got approved now, because now we've got, you know, our time is a little more free than it will be in the middle of the summertime to try to work through this stuff. So hopefully we can get with Derek in the next couple weeks and start trying to figure out how to do some of this stuff.
Yeah, and if we can even track them, you know, back out the big events at one park or something to show a true trend,
Yep.
you know, and then show it with it, one with and one without. But
Elliot and I worked on a spreadsheet that kind of started some of that, and we broke it down based on the average spend per a visitor, taking into account tax rates, the average spend for an overnight visitor, non-locals, hotel nightly rate, to look at that. Like, we've built out a base to be able to plug and play with full access once we can do it. And then it was also built out with in mind of how do you use those numbers specifically for the parks to determine the overall benefit of the park for the tax base. Not just track visitors and talk about it, like it was designed to really look at how you can, what the parks is doing to directly move the needle in the tax base, so.
And that would come with the big events, stuff
Nice.
like that.
It'd become with anything. Like,
Yeah,
we built-
daily use of a new, you know, like if you put in the walking trail or the 5K, you know, trail, how often is it getting used and what that impact was and then you could also look at what does a baseball tournament on the weekend bring in? So it go to both day to day and events.
Yeah, there's some really neat things we can come up with. We
That
just have to have
program
access
may
to it.
generate that for you anyway, if you put in those specifics.
Yeah, we just have to get it set up.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you get it set up, it's just a matter of going and
Yeah.
punching the weekend you want, or the day you want, or the time frame you want, and pushing enter.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Making it in
Everybody,
today.
appreciate your time and effort.
We're adjourned.